This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Good evening. Welcome to the Easthampton City Council meeting for Wednesday, November 1st. The meeting tonight is being recorded and broadcast by e-media on channel 193 and live streaming on their webpage, easthamptonmedia.org. Council participants in this meeting are gathering hybrid onto the order extended until March 2025, which allow us to do so. I'll remind both the member of the City Council and the public participating remote remain mute until recognized by the City Council President. Also, for the member of the public, please remove your camera for the direction of this meeting unless you are participating in the public speak time or the public hearing. Thank you. This meeting is now called to order. Barbara.
Connie Denham. Here. Salem Derby. Present. Omar Gomez.
Here.
J.P. Kaczynski.
Here.
Dave Munier. Tom Peak.
Here.
Brad Riley. Dan Rist.
Here.
Owen Zarrett.
Here.
Please stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approve of the minutes. I will take a motion to approve the minutes of October 18.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minute of the October 18. Any further discussion? Seeing none, for those one in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Abstention? One abstention. Motion passes. Public speak time. This is the opportunity to address the council regarding any topic not listed on the public hearing. Is anyone from the public that want to participate in this public speak time? Mr. John Mason?
Thank you, Mr. President. It's been a busy time. Actually, John Mason, Parks and Recreation Director, City of Easthampton. It's been a busy time this month with all the events in the park and through the city for the Parks and Rec Department. I just want to recognize so many folks that help make these great events possible. Without the volunteers and the support we get from other departments, we would not be able to put these events on. So for Harvest Fest, it was a great day. Tons of people. At one point I counted over 1,500 cars in the park just at one given point during the festival. So it was great. Coach Lawrence of the Easthampton High School soccer team provided a lot of volunteers with the boys and girls soccer teams. The Easthampton Fire Department with the bonfire support. The park staff, Sam for organizing the vendors and the trucks, food trucks for the event. They really put an extra effort in to come in on the weekends and get this event off and running smoothly. For the Rag Shag, the Easthampton Fire Department and Police Department, the CERT team provide DPW, providing the safety and all the logistics that go into having a parade go through town. Their support has been amazing each and every year, and we really thank them for helping us provide the Rag Shag Parade. Park security and staff, once again, really did an excellent job. The candy baggers, we bag close to 1,500 bags of candy, and we do it with the Council on Aging provides volunteers. The City Hall staff comes over for a little bit. City leadership, there's a lot of folks that are involved just getting the bags of candy ready for that night. City Council President Gomez, thank you for supervising the volunteers and the candy handout at the end of the parade. I know that can get a little crazy with everybody wanting their candy, but everything ran smoothly. Once again, to thank you to all the volunteers and all the folks who made these holiday traditions great again this year. Thank you.
Thank you, John, and it was a pleasure to help the community. Anyone else? Seeing none. Communication from elected officials, boards, and committee. Councilor Sarrett.
Thank you, Mr. President. Normally I have things written down when I plan to speak, and I don't tonight, so you have to forgive me if my thoughts aren't very well organized. This is a very difficult time right now in the world for a lot of people. And I want to first just take time to acknowledge that before I move on to what I want to speak about. It's a difficult time for Palestinians and Israelis and people of Arab descent and Muslim people and many other people. I mean, the world in general is kind of falling apart as far as I'm concerned, and it's really scary. I was reflecting recently, because this is the 5th anniversary of the Tree of Life shooting in Pittsburgh, and all except for one of the people in the room right now were on the city council when that happened. And I remember how encouraging it was that we all gathered together, and that was actually what brought about our first gun violence resolution. I don't know if people remember that. It doesn't help that that coincided with the shooting in Maine, which was terrible, and that apparently there were 5 mass shootings over the weekend, which just don't even make the news anymore because they're so frequent and integrated into our lives that it's almost like not even worth reporting, apparently. I remember when the Tree of Life shooting happened, for me, being second generation Jewish person, how terrifying that was. Because for me, that was basically living some of the things in a very, very small way from afar in Massachusetts to Pittsburgh, what my parents' generation, definitely my grandparents' generation, had to experience. And then the world seemed to kind of, we were already living recently in a time of the highest amount of anti-Semitic incidents in this country, historically, ever. And then the world kind of exploded recently, and I'm watching the news with outward expressions of anti-Semitism that you thought you would never see. I mean, we're already seeing this slow creep into social media and some things with public figures, but what I've been seeing over the last 3 weeks, I'm just talking about anti-Semitism in America. I'm purposely separating this out from the political issues that are going on somewhere else. It's terrifying. I mean, these are worse. Some of these things are worse than the things that my grandparents and my parents would tell us around the Friday night dinner table. What's happening at universities, what's happening in France, for instance, where they've marked homes and businesses of Jewish people with stars, what happened in Austria yesterday where they burned a Jewish cemetery. The Jewish community is terrified. I can tell you locally, everyone is scared and they feel isolated. And that is both in Easthampton with people I talk to and then just regionally. My child celebrated their Bar Mitzvah this last weekend, which was a great simcha, a great joy. And I'm glad that we could bring that light into the world, but kind of on the edges of that light was the terror of what is happening to Jews in America and around the world right now. And I talk to a lot of people and they feel isolated and alone. And so all I can say is that, I know a lot of this community is mostly invisible. We don't have a synagogue in Easthampton. There aren't a lot of Jewish people in Easthampton, and even in Western Mass, there aren't. And look, we make up 2% of the American population and account for 60% of religious hate crimes. So if you have questions for me as to how to connect with that community, I'm happy to connect you. If you have people who are Jewish or allies of Jewish people, reach out. I'm trying my best to work with the local federation to organize events. I know that there's more complex geopolitical issues going on somewhere else. And again, I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about what's happening here that seems to be almost this extra thing that's been, people feel encouraged to have this spark that's caught fire. I don't know. That's my stream of consciousness. If I can be helpful as a connector to that community, please let me know. And I think that's it. So thank you.
Any other councilors? Seeing none. Mayor's communication. Mayor's not here. Announcement from the President of the Vice President, Mr. Derby.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have two quick announcements. The first is a little dark, which is we are going to have to turn back our clocks on Sunday at 2 in the morning to make it 1 in the morning. And so that means that we'll get an extra hour of sleep, so there's the bright side. But it's going to be getting dark at around 4:58, which is going to be kind of tough. So I just wanted to remind everybody to turn back their clocks. So it will be dark when many people go to vote on Tuesday, November 7th. So I just wanted to remind people that voting is Tuesday, and we have a race in Precinct 5, and we have a race for school committee. So this is an important election, so I encourage everybody to get out and let their voice be heard. And I believe that all of the precincts will be voting at high school. So that's going to be where the action is happening in the dark for a lot of people. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. We'll start doing the report from the Standing Committee, Finance, Councilor Rist.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Finance Committee will meet next Wednesday, room 1 at 5:15. We will be discussing the new business and the tax classification. I would at this time like to move to set a public hearing for the fiscal year 24 tax classification at 6:15 in these chambers at the next meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to schedule a public hearing at 6:15, November 15, for fiscal year 2024 tax classification hearing. Any further discussion? Seeing none, there's one in favor.
Aye.
Any against? Abstention? Motion passes. Councilor Rist.
Oh, I'm sorry, that concludes.
Thank you, Councilor Rest. Public Safety, Councilor Saret.
Thank you. I don't have much to report. We're meeting the 14th to do a final review on our resolution against anti-Semitism and hoping to bring that to a vote on the 15th of November. That concludes.
And the meeting is going to be room number 1 at 6 p.m.
Room 1 at 6 p.m., yes, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Saret. Appointments, it's nothing on the appointments. Councilor Derby, ordinance.
Oh, thank you, Mr. President. So ordinance is going to meet on the Wednesday, I believe it's the 15th, at 5:30 in the room upstairs here behind us. What we are going to discuss is the senior tax work-off program and the extension past the 3-year pilot program. And that's the only item we will discuss that in that short meeting. And then we will also be setting another extended meeting at that meeting as well. Thus concludes.
That's it, really? Take another time, another minute. Thank you. Property, Councilor Kuczynski.
No report, Mr. President.
Keep talking. Rules, Councilor Rest.
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you.
It is 6:14.
We can do these.
I know, so just wait one, we should wait 1 minute just in case someone show up at 6:15 for the public hearing.
Well, Emily's waiting.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
it's just 1 minute, it's a few more seconds.
We're at the 10-second countdown.
Anything? Anyone?
10 seconds.
Let's make the motion.
Yep, we're good. 4
Do
seconds.
the motion.
I move that we open the public hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to open a public hearing. Any further discussion? Seeing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Abstention? Motion passes. Councilor Derby.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is now 6:15, and we have a request before us to amend Chapter 7, Exhibit A, classification of employees by adding a public health inspector. And this is something that the Ordinance Committee discussed at our last meeting. We voted 3-0 in favor of this. This has been in the works for quite a while. And now we are trying to get this as a position that can be filled. And I see Emily, our HR specialist, is on the call, so I would refer to her to fill us in on anything I missed.
Emily?
Yeah, hi. So as you guys all know, our health department has rapidly been growing since COVID. We had someone doing inspections, but we now have that person in the position of health agent, and we're looking to fill this position on a part-time basis. So we need to get it in there. I mean, the salary range is pretty in line with what other communities are doing, and this would help us meet all our requirements for, state guidelines for inspections and help us to better serve the community. So, yeah.
Thank you, Emily.
Any councilor have any questions or comments? Anyone from the public have any questions or comments about this? Seeing none, Councilor Derby.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a reminder that this did pass the ordinance committee 3-0. I move to amend Chapter 7, Section 7-17, Exhibit A, classification of employees by adding the position of public health inspector at grade D.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to amend Chapter 7, Section 7-17, Exhibit A, by adding the position of public health inspector at grade D. Any further discussion? Seeing none, for those one in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Abstention? Motion passes. I will take a motion to close public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to close public hearings. Any further discussion? Seeing none, for those one in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Abstention? Motion passes. New business. Councilor Rest.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have two supplemental appropriation requests both from the Community Preservation Act. The first is a request for $120,000 to be appropriated from the CPA Reserve for Open Space, $9,548, and the CPA Undesignated Fund, $110,452, for a total of $120,000 to be appropriated to the new city parks account, $120,000, for the purpose of completing the design development for the rehabilitation of the existing Parson Street Playground and creation of a new recreation facility at the vacant Lincoln Street Park parcel. The second appropriation is another Community Preservation Act. The amount requested is $878,000 to be appropriated from the CPA Reserve for Historic Preservation, $121,197. CPA Undesignated Fund, $506,803. And the Old Town Hall second floor construction retained city match, $250,000, for the total of $878,000 to be appropriated to the OTH second floor construction project, $878,000, for the purpose of additional funds for the Phase 2 construction of the new ADA accessible entrance and elevator for Old Town Hall. I move that these two items be sent to the Finance Committee for review, and that a public hearing be set for both of these items for our next meeting, November 15th at 6:15 in these chambers.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to move the two CPA supplemental appropriation to the Finance Committee and to schedule a public hearing November 15 at 6:15 in these chambers. Any further discussion? Seeing none, for those in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Abstention? Motion passes. I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. Those in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Abstention? Motion passes. Have a good evening, everybody.
Thank you.
See
We have to
you.
sign stuff?
Not a record.